Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, and I am going to work on something that I'm going to call a ghost drawing. So I'm out in my studio. It's been a long day at school. I've been teaching art all day. And what do? I come home and I make more art. I'm so dedicated to my discipline. I'm so dedicated to my craft. I love art and I love making art. So behind me on my wall here, in the midst of all these shadows, is a large piece of paper that's a nice cream-colored arches paper. Those are made in France. Beautiful paper. Has a nice beveled, deckled edge that's great to work with. And so what you're going to see is it looks almost like a texture that you guys can see across this paper. And this texture is made through something called a monoprint process. So this is a process where I had some extra ink that was left on a plate as I ran it through a printmaking press, and then this came out, and so it leaves kind of a ghost-like image. So what I want to do is I'm going to use a unique material tonight to draw into this. And what I like to do artistically is I'm seeing things in here. Sometimes when you're outside and you look at clouds and you can see animals or shapes or things like that, well, that's what I'm going to do with this particular mass, this fog, if you will. I'm going to find some things. I'm also going to draw with some unique material. Sorry, it's backwards, but this is called walnut ink. So this ink is actually made from walnut. It's a beautiful color. It's a rich, deep brown. So I'm going to... Oh, some people are showing up. Thank you. I see a bird. I'm going to find that bird in here. So, do you see a little bit of a bird shape in there? Hope you do. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about tonight. One of the things I'm thinking about is a teaching thing. There's a phrase we like to use in teaching called student-centered. I've been teaching art for a long time. I've been teaching for almost like 24 years. And one of the things I've learned is that you want to be a student-centered teacher. That means the students drive a lot of your decisions and a lot of the things that you think about in your classroom. So when I've worked with a lot of different colleagues, and I think that it's difficult to find faculty who are student-centered. I'm working with a particular student situation where sometimes students really go through some difficult situations, and you just want to be there for them and support them, and you need a lot of flexibility when you're teaching students, young people. I'm going to quit talking and more drawing for a few minutes here. So I like still life. I like lots of little objects. I like birds. Birds represent a lot of things. I like ideas. So I'm going to draw maybe something that looks like a light bulb. plants. We're going to draw some plants in here. So I use paintbrushes. I'm going to hold this up. See how ugly that paintbrush is? I use them up and get them all kind of ugly and sharp like this, and then I draw with them. You notice that I like to draw with a very gestural brush stroke. You should try drawing like that. And if you don't want to try drawing like that, don't. You may just enjoy watching other people make art. That's cool too. Lemons always show the idea of prosperity. So I like to put lemons and limes in my art. Are you all seeing some stuff in there? I hope so. It'll slowly happen. Look at that, 17 likes. That's great. Thank you. So I make lots of TikToks. I dressed up like Bob Ross. I hope you can go to my TikTok page and make sure you watch that one, because Bob Ross is the man. I have a Bob Ross wig that I like to wear. encourage your viewers to share your live and invite more friends. Look at that. I'm not going to encourage you to do anything. If you want to do that, you can. Maybe you know somebody that likes to watch art. I'm going to draw a mask. I love African masks. I'm going to put one of these in. So last night, my daughter Amelia was my helper. She welcomed everyone and did comments for me, and it was really cool. My daughter is in high school. Let's give this guy a crown. Maybe he's a king. Maybe he's important. So I called this live the idea of a ghost layer, and so for the people who are just coming in, I had this kind of fog textural thing underneath, and it was the do something called monoprints, where you put ink on a plexiglass plate and you run it through a press, and then when you bring that piece of paper off, it has this ghost-like image on it. This was actually a residual piece that I did with some leftover ink. And then what I like to do is I try to look at it and I try to see shapes in there. It's a very responsive, improvisational type of way of making art. So in case you're wondering, that is what I'm doing. So what does everybody think? Oh, look at that. The way you explain things is really nice. Emily, thank you. You can tell I'm a teacher. And you might be able to tell I'm tired. I got up at 5 a.m. this morning. Why do I get up so early? I don't know. So one of the things I like to do is when I'm making my work is that you stand back a little bit. You get back from it. I try to start figuring out what's the energy of my piece. Is it vibrant? Are there areas that are working better than others? You're in this constant mode of asking yourself questions about your work. I don't ever quite know where it's going to end up. And that, my friends, is a fun part of the journey. So I hope people are hanging in here with me because I'm about to bring in some different colors, some different tones. I'm interested. I want to see what I can do with it. All right. Is that India ink? No. Great question. Who asked that? Reeves. Hi, Reeves Art. This is walnut ink. So you just take a big handful of walnuts, squeeze them as hard as you can, and this drips out. Just kidding. I don't know how they make it, but it is made with walnuts. And I know that after a while it starts to smell weird. It can go rancid if you don't use it quickly enough. So I think I see a familiar face there. That might be a former student. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some turquoise ink. Hello, Candace. Good to see you. You're attending one of my lives. This is where I'm making my stuff. The former student. Maybe she'll say nice things about me in the comments. So we have this piece that has a lot of walnut brown in it. There's a little bit of a cloudy bluish gray wash underneath. And so I'm taking a small container and I'm going to pour in some of this walnut ink, some of the brown. So this is the mad scientist part, right? So we have it. Let's just pour in a little bit. Got a little of the brown in there. And then we're going to take this turquoise color, and we're going to put just a tiny bit. We're going to be so careful. Just a tiny bit. If you put too much of that blue, it just takes over. We test it out. Now we need more brown. More brown. There we go. Stir it up. All right. Now, this should make a statement. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, it kind of looks the same. Hang on. I'm putting a little more blue in. A little more turquoise. Stir, stir, stir. A little taste. Just kidding. Don't eat the ink. It's not good for you. That is the perfect color. See, I'm really turning that arm around. That's awesome. Thank you. Everyone rated is the best teacher. I'm still paying today because of this class. Yay. Candace, you made my night. It's been a hard day because we had an angry parent. I don't like angry parent days. I had somebody once tell me that that my work looks like street art. I think that's okay, right? Oh, somebody said, I really enjoy your lives. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. They told me something got filtered, so I guess somebody didn't like it. That's okay. So what I'm doing, just in case you're curious, with this greenish color is I'm wanting to create almost a geometry infrastructure over the initial drawing. So I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but that seems like the right thing for this image today. Is that it's responding to the brown lines underneath. I'm trying to be responsive. Trying to find some visual things to hold on to. I'm also fixing all the places I feel like I screwed up. The brown underneath. Uh-oh. Wow, people are still here. That's great. I'm so glad. My wife asked me, she said something like, isn't it weird to have people watch you do your art? And I'm like, no, I teach and I have all these students watching me do demos all the time. So it's not weird at all. What kind of paper am I using? I am using Reeves BFK Arche arches, en français, arche. This is a really nice paper. This is the $11 a sheet paper. It's cream colored. I buy it in bulk. Hey, more people, welcome. You're seeing a grand experiment, right? You know, one of the hardest things about making art is knowing when to stop. I tend to always go too far. You're looking for a sense of equilibrium when you're creating your work. There's always a point, I feel like, where the piece reaches a certain sense of balance. There's a certain sense of equilibrium. And that's what you're after. Look at that. That's a nice line. I'm going to pull another line here. Still need something over here. All right, now, what are we going to do next? We are going to take the same mixture. So in this container, I have something called walnut ink, which looks like this, and I added in some turquoise, and now I'm going to add in some blue so that I'll stay in the same color family. Hello, Madison. Thanks for coming by. All right, let's pour in. I'll let you see the pour, right? Not much, just a little bit. Let's stir that up, stir that up, stir that up, stir that up. Let's go in. Oh, that looks pretty close. Oh, I can tell a little difference. I'm going to start filling in some spots. I think we're going to bring in some contrast. We're still trying to find this sense of equilibrium, this sense of structure. Hi, Murphy. Thanks for coming by. We're getting towards the end on this one. My objects are still in there. I started with some simple shapes. There's some lemons in here. There's a plant. There's a ladder. A letter, you say? Where? Well, it's right up here. Probably can't see it because I'm blocking it. You need a little bit of art every single day. I went to a conference this last week, and one of the things that some of the brain scientists were working on was the brain scientists said that if you consume or involve yourself either in appreciating art or making art, they say once per week it extends your life expectancy. So I make art every day, so I'm sure I'm going to live at least until 155 years old. The hard part about dying for me is going to be that I have to stop doing this. I tell my students all the time, find something that makes you feel joy. Find something that helps you get some bliss. Life's too short. Do things that matter. All right, enough of that. Sorry for all the philosophical musings. You may see this as a mess, you may see it as art. You decide. I'm doing a lot of squinting. When I look at it, I squint, and it helps me see contrast. So my master's in art history will be worth it. Yes, your master's in art history is worth it. And yes, Candace, master's degrees are hard. You're going to hit some long days. Some long, difficult days, but you know what? It's worth it. So if you like my art, I hope you'll follow me, because why not? I'll bring a little positive into your life. I make serious art TikToks sometimes. Sometimes I make really silly, ridiculous ones. Couple more spots. Okay, now I am going to sign it because I think this thing is just about done. Big old signature there on the bottom corner. And with that, my friends, I am done from studio time tonight. I'm going to go have a cup of tea and then hit the sack here in a little bit. After watch a little TV. We'll maybe watch a little TV. All right. You have a great evening. This was really fun. I hope to see you again soon. I'm probably going to do another one of these, let's say Wednesday or Thursday. Will depend on how much energy we have. Have a great night and goodbye, everybody.